Hey guys, welcome to Word for Your Week. I bring you greetings from sunny South Texas. It's about 70 degrees here, and a lot of people are going to be hitting ice storm here in a few days. So enjoy the sun with us today. The Lord's really been speaking to me a lot about what's happening in our country, our culture, and our churches. And it's interesting to realize that there's a lot of things that God's doing in order to bring correction to where we are. And certainly we're in some changing times. I mean, that's just where we are. I mean, things are changing everywhere. And everyone I'm talking to right now in the gatherings we're doing, as well as in the cities that I'm going into, the churches that I'm speaking in, everybody is undergoing changes. They're not talking so much about the transition. They're talking about the changes of what is really here. And they're asking me questions like, what do I do in the midst of all these changes? And whenever we have changes in our life, one of the greatest aspects of the Word of God is it speaks to the changes. I encourage people, go read the Psalms. There's a lot of times when I'm going through challenges, I'm going through changes. Maybe I'm just troubled about some things going on around me. I'll go and I'll read in the Psalms. I'll just start and I'll begin to read. And I read until peace just kind of floods over me. And that happened recently. We were walking through the death of my twin sister. We're walking through some challenges in our family because of that and just really getting healed up of some things. But I went to Psalm 103:7, and strangely enough, the Lord began speaking so clearly to me. He said, I made my ways known to Moses and my acts to the sons of Israel. And all of a sudden the light came on, and I realized that God made his ways known to Moses because Moses walked with him. Yet Israel did not walk with him, and his acts, signs, wonders, miracles, supernatural events, he made known those things to Israel so they could see who he was. But there was something about knowing the ways of God that he gave to Moses. In other words, he said, Moses, I want you to know who I am because you choose to walk with me. And certainly, whenever we walk in changing times in our life, God's speaking so much to us about how to walk with him. In the middle of that, and I shared this just recently with you guys, that the Lord, when I woke up one morning, the Lord spoke very clearly. And he said, I want you to walk with me, not work for me. If you'll walk with me, I will work through you, and you won't strive and labor in your own efforts. And I began to realize all of a sudden, God's called us to know him. He's called us to walk with him. He's called us back to a place. And I think many of us get so busy in ministry. We get busy in life. We get busy in our walk with others and our jobs and families and so on and so forth, that we begin to strive and work in relationships rather than learning how to rest in those, learning how to walk with the Lord in the midst of it all. But I think the greatest call that we're having right now is God's calling us back to that place to walk with him. He wants to make his ways known to us, but he can't do it if we're not walking with him. Moses was a friend of God. God spoke to Moses face to face as a man speaks to his friend. And yet the reality was Moses knew him so deeply and intimately. He knew his ways, therefore it formed his life. I think many people face challenges in life. They've faced challenges in their churches and their culture and the countries they're living in, all this, and it's around the world. They're facing these challenges and they're wondering, what do I do? Well, the truth is, what would God do through you? The truth is, as you walk with him, you're literally walking in a place to where you're going to learn to know his ways. When we know his ways, we know how to make decisions. When we know his ways, we know how to interact with other people. When we know his ways, we know how to be able to walk out the relationship that we have, not only with him, but the relationships of those in the world, our marriages, our sons and our daughters, our mothers, our fathers, our friends, our colleagues at work and places we go. You see, we're in a place to where God's called us how to walk with him. And I think that we abandon many things change is bringing in our life because we want to know the acts of God, but yet we don't want to know the ways of God. And it's the ways of God that form who you are, not the acts of God. The acts of God are great. We celebrate them. We look at them. We see the changes that comes. But it's walking with him that brings a change in your life. It's learning how to remember always that when you get up in the morning, he's with you. When you lay down at night, he's with you. When you walk through the day, he's with you. When you sleep at night, he even gives his beloved in their sleep. God's wanting to impart into you something so much deeper. And I think God's calling us to that right now. So I want to challenge you this week. Learn how to know the ways of God. Go to Psalm 103, verse 7. Learn to know his ways like Moses knew his ways. Celebrate his acts that Israel got. Celebrate what God does. But when you know him through prayer, through his word, through intimate time alone with Him, you learn how to walk with Him. One last thing I want to share with you guys. I think will be able to form you deeper than you ever have. When you get up in the morning, spend the first 15 to 30 minutes alone. Just listen. Just get a cup of coffee, get you something to drink, sit down, just focus on the Lord, meditate on God. Don't even try to build some kind of a quiet time that you're striving in to please God. Sit before Him and learn to listen. Practice that time with the Lord and let Him impart into you. Let Him speak to your spirit, man. Let your soul be refreshed because of who He is before you begin the forming of who you are in the day. That quiet moment with God in the morning, you begin to listen to Him. You begin to know His ways. You start that walk with Him in the fact that you meet with Him just to love Him, let Him love you, and to walk in the fullness of who you are. If you'll do that, then God will begin to work through you the acts that He has for you to achieve in that day, and you'll see the power of God operate in your life. I look forward to seeing you at your gatherings this week.